Sentencing proceedings for convicted murderer Ntuthuko Shoba are set to get underway in the High Court in Johannesburg this morning. In March, Shoba was found guilty of the 2020 premeditated murder of his girlfriend Tshegofatso Pule. The 28-year-old's body was found with a gunshot wound and hanging from a tree in Roodepoort. She was 8 months pregnant at the time. Linda Mnisi is outside that court and joins us live now. Linda, you've been interacting, of course, he's now inside the court, pardon me. You've been interacting with family members and also getting response on some of the expectations ahead of the sentence. Some are saying that they're hoping for a double life sentence.
Well, Paul, I may have lost you there, but indeed, there are great expectations this morning ahead of course, the arguments in this particular matter. You would have heard earlier on, the lawyer for Ntuthuko Shoba. In fact, Ntuthuko Shoba, Tshegofatso Pule's uncle, Dumisang Katake, saying that there are quite a number of ceremonies that still need to be performed. At the point where they are now seeking closure, he says that in fact the postponements that we've seen in this particular case were nothing but a delaying tactic, because at the end of the day we will get to a point where this particular matter comes to a fault. They've called for a double life, although the state did not charge for the unborn baby. We know that the only charges that were brought against Ntuthuko Shoba were that of the murder of Tshegofatso Pule, who was heavily pregnant at the time of the murder. Expectations you speak of this morning, the court gallery is packed as per usual. We're seeing family members, we're seeing community members, we're seeing church members for the very first time. It's unclear from which side they're coming from. We're hoping to then get a sense of which side they're coming from. But if you also look at some of the Pule family members dressed in orange overalls, this has been the case for much of the appearance here in this particular court. You would have heard Butlali there calling for a double life earlier on, but we're expecting then to hear arguments in this particular matter in terms of those aggravating and mitigating circumstances. More of it, also include the issues around, his personal circumstances, but also taking into account the nature of the crime, the circumstances around it, and the aggravating elements of it all. I just want to bring in her little sister. I'm going to try to just move to the side and Paul to get a sense from her little sister how she's feeling this morning. It is, of course, an emotional one. Thank you so much for your time. Good morning. I wonder how you're feeling this morning. We're inching closer to the end.
Hi, Linda. I'm feeling more anxious more than anything. It's just anxiety and anxious. I'm feeling that's all.
We heard from the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation saying they are calling for a double life. This is your sister. What are you calling for? What do you want the judge to ultimately deliver at the end of this process?
To be quite honest, regardless of the sentence, it won't bring back Tshegofatso. I would have loved it did penalty, but unfortunately it hasn't been implemented in the South African law. I feel like I still say an eye for an eye, but yeah, so we'll just let justice take its course.
Thank you so much for your time. I want to bring in her aunt as well, Auntie Kunjan. Her name is Busizuma. Just your expectation, Auntie, this morning, ahead of the proceedings. We know that it was postponed for about 2 months. What are you expecting this morning?
Nothing else but the sentence. 2 life sentences. That's all what I'm expecting today. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. So nothing else but 2 life terms. That's, the word from, of course, the family members. If you look down here, these are Ntuthuko Shoba's legal representatives and Paul, who are just going down. They're going to be, of course, having a moment with their client before he comes up to the dock. He'll be sitting right here in this court. We're told that the proceedings will get underway at 10:30. because, of course, the legal representatives are still busy with some of the elements that, will be discussed before this open court.
Very well, Linda. Mnisi, of course, giving us a sense of what is expected to happen any moment from now at around 10:30. This matter is set to get underway. We know that outside of the court, there are people who've come out in their numbers with placards really calling for a life sentence, a double life sentence, as one member of the Tshegofatso Pule Foundation called for. We'll take you there as soon as it gets underway.